Hi, this is Diana Price, and we're here every Tuesday, 12 noon to 1 p.m., Spicy Business Talk, where we talk about all of the ingredients, the recipes for business success. And, I'm a speaker, I'm a service culture strategist, I'm a forensic expert witness, and I love getting in front of audiences and, captivating and sizzling and really engaging with my audience. And it takes a lot of practice. I love doing it. It's kind of natural for me, but I still have to work at it. So today we're talking about how to get in the spotlight and really be effective at what you're doing. So I want you to head on over to our blog post, and our blog post is dpriceassociates.com, and we're talking about the 3 things that you need to know about how to get into the spotlight. So stay with us today while we really dig deep and dive in to what you can do as a professional speaker and why you really should be getting your message across as a professional speaker. So let's get right in. I've got a lot of evidence-based stuff here for you. So the first thing I want you to really realize is if you're thinking of doing business for yourself, or you're thinking of starting a career change, if you're in corporate America, or if you are just looking to do some things to supplement your income, speaking is such a good way to do that. And speaking, first of all, amazing to get your message across. You are talking about the topic, products, and services that you love, and hopefully some things your audience can use to help solve their problems, and you can help them find some of their problems with all of your products. So when you do that, when you get your message across, guess what happens? You become an authority in your business. You become an expert, especially if you know your subject so well that you dig deep, and no matter what questions people ask you about your topic, you're prepared. Now, preparing is the key word. And I don't care how natural you are as a speaker or if you really have to work at it. Because even though I feel natural, I feel comfortable now, I still work at it. And when I say work at it, I prepare. I get in front of the mirror. I look at myself. I look at my body language. I say, okay, now, and I put myself in the audience shoes. Am I being boring? If I were listening to me in the audience, if I were in the audience, how would I be reacting? Would I be snoozing and moving? And you have to do that. And if you do that, you will be on top of your game. And I kid you not, because it is such a good thing for you to not only feel good, but to engage your audience. I can't tell you how that makes me feel. I did a workshop, a presentation in front of probably about 200 plus executives. And these executives were insurance industry executives. And I've been in the insurance and travel industry, as I've told you. And it's really difficult sometimes to get them to crack a smile. It's like really working hard. So I had to prepare for that. But because I really understood my audience, key word, understand your audience. And when you understand your audience, you have to give them what they need, not what you think they need, but really what they need and not what you want. And I'm going to get into that right now. One of the first tips, and I think it's a major focus. This is the focus of when I got started speaking. When I got started speaking, I was like, oh, do I really want to do this? How am I going to come across? What are people going to think? And I had the type of personality that was really corporate. I wasn't flexible with my delivery. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen an executive that has a lot of power, man, woman, it doesn't matter, and even if they're speaking freely, they sound scripted. They sound, like da 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 da. It's just a real unhuman, inflexible kind of way. And I feared that I had that kind of presentation. So the first tip that I want to share with you is to put your focus on what your audience needs. Now, when you put your focus on what your audience needs, all you're going to be doing is decide. You really got to prepare a lot of information, and then you got to cut it down. But then what they want to hear is the things that you are going to come up with. So think of yourself as being in the front row. You're in the front row. And when you come in to presentation, at least when I do, when I go into a presentation, I want to know, number one, I want to be entertained. I want to hear a good speech. I want to hear a good presentation. And I want them to talk about my needs. I want them to talk about my problems, my needs, and I don't want them to try to impress me with, whatever it is they're trying to impress me with, their knowledge. I don't want to hear all these, percentages and statistics. Yeah, I do want to hear some of that, one or two, but I don't want you to give me a presentation full of statistics. I'm going to go to sleep on that. So yes, those things have their place in your speech, but you do one or two to impress and to astound someone with, that kind of a stat. So think about the audience that you're going to be speaking to. What's the demographics? The audience that I was telling you, I just spoke to the example of all corporate executives in the insurance industry. So these are senior vice presidents, presidents of insurance companies. These are people that run large businesses and that are in control of a lot of people. So they're looking for specifics in an area. Well, in this case, I was talking about leadership and confronting your comfort zone and how you engage your employees by doing that. So I knew my audience because I've worked in that business. So when you know your audience, you're better prepared to talk the talk. And you have to talk the talk. You have to tell stories that they can identify with. You have to engage them. And engaging that audience for me was really tricky. You know what I had to do? And I thought about it. I thought about it time and time again because this was a very conservative audience. But you know what I did? I almost don't want to tell you because it worked out really well. I got them all up to begin. Of course, I asked them. I already start with asking questions. So, raising my hand, asking a question, so getting the audience to raise their hand. And if some of them didn't, I asked a different question to get the other part of the audience. So first I engaged them all. And after I engaged them all, I could tell, you can tell when you're starting to lose them because, people have a very short attention span. So as soon as I started to lose them, before I really started the meat of the presentation, I got them up and I got them to dance. Can you stand it? I got all these corporate executives to dance. And initially, I saw part of the room up and dancing. And then very slowly, I looked around and they were all up dancing. And, it was a stage. I did it to music and it worked out beautifully. But, you have to be careful. You have to know your audience. You can't do that to everybody. They're going to be, what the heck is this all about? Especially, corporate execs. But, at the end of that presentation, I got so many amazing testimonials that this is the best presentation I've ever been to on leadership. So, you have to know your audience and really care about the content that you share. The content that I shared was high quality, content rich. Gave them handouts. I gave them all these wonderful things that they could take back to their offices. And I got a lot of business from that. I got a lot of interaction. I got a lot of people asking me to, share more with their team. So it was a win-win for them. So when you know and you focus on what your audience needs, you got to delete 80% of what you really intended to say. When you prepare your script, your slides, your presentation, all of the things that you think you want to present, put them all on paper. And then when you start preparing your PowerPoints, when you put your information on your PowerPoints, you can't have more than 3 bullets on that PowerPoint. Have a motherhood statement and then 3 bullets. You know what a motherhood statement is. It's kind of an overview of what you're going to be talking about. And then the 3 bullets are really further explaining what you're actually going to be telling them about. And at the end of, well, I've got more to say about this, but at the end, and you'll hear me say this a couple times, I always talk in threes, 3 bullet points, like I say on a slide, and three, all of these talk in threes. So, but at the end of the day, at the end of your presentation, you want them to go away with at least one thing, one simple thing that they have learned and they can implement. So, all right. Now, before we go on, I'm going to take a quick break because I want to share the second tip, but I want to also close out this part of staying focused on what your audience needs. You're listening to Diana Price on Spicy Business Talk.